We're going to get into the first story for Wa글와글. Yet another bomb threat called into a school in Seoul. What is going on?
A fax came into Seoul's Seongdong police saying that bombs were installed in 2 middle schools in that jurisdiction. The police, of course, evacuated the schools and swept the buildings, but found nothing. School was canceled for that day. Also, Jongno police in Seoul received a report about a bomb threat at another middle school and responded to the call. So that's just 3 from yesterday.
Oh, wow.
By the way, there's been an overall uptick in these bomb threats by 28% in the last 2 years.
So these bomb threats have become almost commonplace in the past few weeks, and there have been calls to raise the punishment level.
Right. Like, I'm afraid, is this becoming kind of the new prank?
Oh,
like,
no.
is this the ding-dong ditch of whatever generation that might be calling these in? And here's the thing. They are a waste of police resources and even loss in sales for businesses that are affected. So in August alone, and that's excluding yesterday's incidents, we've had bomb threats against large public places like department stores, an amusement park, one of the major concert arenas or sports arenas, and now even schools.
Yes.
By the way, there is the Public Intimidation Act, 공중협박죄, which went into effect earlier this year. However, punishment under the law has been controversial. So on paper, under the law, it says that someone who makes threats against larger public safety may be subject to up to 5 years in prison or up to 20 million won in fines. However, what it says on paper and the sentences that are actually doled out, vastly different.
Yes.
Recently, the court sentenced a man who threatened the public with a homemade bomb to a 6 million won fine, no jail time. But they did take into consideration the fact that the defendant has a developmental disability.
And people have pointed to other countries that have far harsher punishments for such threats and things like blackmail.
Right. So we should note that for countries that have similar laws against making threats to public safety, at least when it comes to criminal prosecution, the ranges of the law, it's fairly similar. So U.S.
Right.
federal law stipulates very similar, under 5 years in prison for threats. However, in the States, what sets it apart is just the act of sending a message that poses threat to the general public. That act is a crime itself, regardless of whether you installed a bomb or not.
Yes.
In Europe, countries like Germany and the UK, they have similar crimes and similar punishment. But in Germany, they impose fines based on your wealth level. So fines can differ.
Right.
In the UK, a guilty verdict in such case can go up to 7 years.
Okay.
Let's turn to civil suits.
Oh.
Because, say you called in a bomb threat to a department store, they've had to shut down for half a day. The department store can file for damages. And what's more, in these countries, not Korea, the defendant has to pay for the costs of the police force that was called in for wasting public resources.
Yes.
Let's go to Austria, where a 13-year-old called in a mass shooting threat to his school. Age of 13 would be a criminal minor in South Korea, by the way. The police sent a bill for 11,000 euros, or about 17.8 million won, to the family of the boy. In the U.S. back in 2014, a man made a prank call to his sister, saying that with a fake voice, there was a bomb in her car.
To your sister?
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, just, this is outside my realm of understanding. But let's go to the facts. The call resulted in a 3-hour shutdown of a highway. I mean, the court ordered this man to compensate the police $7,270. That is just for the police.
Okay.
If you have caused damages or losses to a company or an institution, that amount skyrockets. Let's go again to the U.S., where in 2022, a case of a bomb threat resulted in $456,000 of damages to a company, and the defendant was liable to pay all of that. Here's the thing, though. Let's bring it back to South Korea. Compensations for waste of a police force, that's limited because, interestingly, the law and the system, they see even the responding to these type of false threats as being in the realm of responsibility of the police. Corporations, for their part, they tend to be more sensitive to public opinion. It's just optics of a major corporation filing for large compensations against like a 13-year-old or 14-year-old. that prevents them from kind of actively filing for action. So experts say that it is important to have an overall social atmosphere where we do see compensations for these wastes of resources.
Such a waste. And of course, what about the fear?
It is a vicious cycle because if there is social perception that, oh, that's a prank and I won't get any retribution for it, you know, people might feel that it's okay and it never is.
Never. Up next, we know about false or inaccurate information from AI chatbots, but some experts are warning of an AI-stemmed psychosis.
Right. So excessive or obsessive use of chatbots can spiral into paranoid and delusional behavior.
Yes.
So AI psychosis refers to life-altering mental health spirals that coincide with obsessive use of anthropomorphized AI chatbots. Primarily, I mean, we do talk about ChatGPT. That is the most popular. I'm citing a study from King's College.
Yes.
It's awaiting peer review. But it says that chatbots reflect and amplify the user's beliefs and claims. It's kind of like an echo chamber.
Yes.
So if there were concerning issues before, it can worsen or amplify delusions, especially for users that are in an emotionally or psychologically vulnerable state.
Right.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
So if I tell a chatbot, I was chosen by God to save the world.
Oh.
I can fly. I'm a genius. Here's the thing about chatbots, and this has been kind of memeified as well. They're so encouraging. You can do anything, or you say something that's completely wrong. That's an interesting opinion. Oh, that's a good thought. So, I mean, depending on whether you use the paid version or not, but their job is to kind of agree with you, almost it seems, and it will encourage you.
Okay.
Chatbots, in one case study, the chatbot told a man, you can fly if you truly believe. No, you can't. No one can. And he actually, and I mean, it wound up not being funny because he basically severed contact from his family and attempted
To fly? Oh, no.
A man in Toronto spoke to
Yes.
his chatbot for about 3 weeks. Again, excessive and obsessive. That started weirdly as a simple question about pi.
Like
and then,
pi as in?
Like 3.141, the
not
PI.
eating pie.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
not eating
PI.
pie.
Okay.
Math. So the bot convinced him that he cracked this previously never been cracked cryptographic secrets. Basically, he was like a gift from God to solve math's mysteries. Yeah. By the way, it is important to note that the man says he has no prior history of psychosis or serious mental illness, but he fell into this delusion. And, you know, he asked things like, are you sure? Am I crazy?
Yes.
But ChatGPT continued to assure him, no, you're not. And then it does get to dangerous territory because there's a case in the U.S. where a 14-year-old boy attempted suicide in 2024 after talking to a character-based chatbot. And there's an ongoing lawsuit regarding this.
Wow.
So experts say that this trend of anthropomorphizing AI chatbots, meaning giving them human values, can cut people off from reality and
Yes.
social bonding while kind of distorting a sense of ethics or morality. So as chatbots do become very much prevalent in
Yes.
people's everyday lives, you know, these risks are something we have to consider.
Absolutely. Thanks for going over this because we don't want it to get to that point where you're really, really depending on chatbots that much.
Right.
All right. Well, it's well known that U.S. authorities caught the infamous gangster Al Capone, but actually it was on tax evasion rather than other
Murder.
crimes. Right. Well, a con man was caught for something very minor.
A cigarette butt. Right, which is an important reminder to, well, not defraud people, but also not to litter.
Yes.
Yeah. So this happened in Seoul. A man on the streets of Seoul in Gwanak-gu district, Sillim, threw away a cigarette butt on the morning of August 20th.
Yes.
And then out of the corner of his eye, he spotted the police. Oops. Well, I mean, of course, anyone, you jaywalk, you litter, and you see the police, you're like, oh no. But he panicked even more than kind of the normal amount and started hurrying away. The police thought that was really suspicious. They caught up with him. And then the man was like, can you please just let me go this one time? And then try to get into a cab. So that got even more suspicious. The police asked for ID. And instead of giving them the ID, he tried to bribe the police. Which is, in this day and age, that's so sus. So
Right.
he even pretended that he got a call. He pulled the fake phone call method and basically pulled every move in the book to try
Okay.
to get away. So there's no way the police were going to let him go at that point. They actually confirmed that he is a wanted man on 10 charges, including assault and fraud. So he's suspected of having taken 17.7 billion won from 1,300 people from a crypto scam back in 2018 and 2019. So this is a while ago. So he's
Yes.
like definitely kind of a pioneer in the field. And he's been on the run for the past 5 years. So the police, after catching him, passed the case on to Seoul's Nambu prosecution, which had been investigating the case for the past 5 years. So yeah.
Up next, a Canadian influencer has claimed that she filed for damages against Samyang for their spicy noodles, but the company says this is not true.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd case, which is
Okay.
what this segment's all about.
Exactly.
But one Canadian TikToker claims that she got a stomach ulcer from eating 불닭볶음면, and she posted a video claiming these, and she said she's going to file a suit against Samyang. However, it's apparently not true. So this entire thing went viral.
Yes.
And it went even more viral because even after she said she's claiming for 50 million Canadian dollars, she kept eating the fire noodles in front of the camera. So, however, Samyang issued a statement recently saying that there are actually no lawsuits against the company in North America and that spread of this misinformation is seriously harming the company and its reputation.
Right.
So it's actually reviewing legal action.
Because we're talking about like it could be libelous and defamation.
Right,
So
right.
Thank you for going over all the Wagley stories today. And of course, we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.